Hi. Today I'm going to talk about how I survived traveling alone on a motorcycle for like a long time. Okay, I'm going to talk about like really basic stuff. For example, like food, like water, um, clothes, my hygiene, health, exercise. The list is over here. Accommodation, how I get money, like cash or whatever, how I plan the route, how I communicate, how I keep safe, how I maintain the bike, because the bike is as important as me. It's like another person. Even though I'm alone, I still have to take care of the bike. Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about all of this. Okay, so I'm going to start off with food. Okay, so um, food is like something that's like really big for me. Like my goal when I go to like a country is to like, I don't know, by the end of like the trip in that country, I want to be able to look at the menu and say that, okay, I know every single dish on the menu. I've tried everything. I always need to try like everything at least once. So that is like something I have to do. So every time I go to a restaurant, I'll look at the menu. Whatever I don't know, I try my best to like order it, to try it. Yeah. But the problem is, I'm alone like most of the time, so it's kind of hard to like share food, to try like more dishes at a time. So I have to like try them like slowly. But the good thing is, don't actually have a time limit for this trip right now, so I just like do it a little bit by a little bit. Yeah. But the problem with trying food is like most of the time it's cooked outside, right? Or sometimes if I stay at the locals' place, they cook for me so I get to try. But if it's like food outside, it's not that healthy. So, like on one hand, I want to try everything, but on the other hand, I also want to be healthy, and that's really, really hard when I'm traveling. So, what I've been doing is like, I don't know, like eating really badly sometimes, and then like when I get to stay at the place for a longer time, I try to like eat healthier. Like for example, right now I'm in like Cancun for like 2 months. I've gone like a little bit crazy like with my diet. I cook all the time. I try like not to go out. Okay, so I just buy groceries for the week. I try to eat as much like fruits, vegetables, protein. Yeah, I drink coffee, eggs. Try to limit my carbs, but sometimes I give in to like bread or rice. Yeah, so I try to eat out as little as possible. Like for example now, because I'm kind of like at the end of my trip to Mexico, I already tried most of the food. I don't actually have to go out. But I know in January when I go to like Central America, like Belize, Guatemala, so on and so forth, oh, it's gonna start again because I want to try everything. I want to know what it tastes like. And I just kind of like got my health back again. I am healthy again. I lost the weight that I put on, and I do not know what's going to happen like next year. I will try my best to eat healthy, maybe one unhealthy meal a day. Not really, not exactly unhealthy, but I try to try something new and then try to eat healthy for like the rest of the day, something like this. But of course, it's also kind of hard because like right now I'm renting this place for like 1 month, and before that I was in another place for almost a month as well. And I have a kitchen, so it's like super easy to cook and like buy my own stuff. But let's say if I live with like a couch surfer or I go to a hotel, sometimes I don't have access to the kitchen. I only have like a microwave. Sometimes I don't even have a microwave at all. So it's really difficult to cook. But that's how it is. Yeah. But overall, I really do try like my best to stay healthy. Yeah. Okay, next on the list is like water. Okay. Like in Mexico, it is impossible to drink tap water. I don't know what's going on, but maybe okay. What from what I've read online is like the water source is okay. Like you can drink from the water source, but the problem is like the pipes that bring the water into the homes. So that causes like the contamination. From what I read, I have no idea why. Okay, so in Mexico, no one drinks water out of the tap. No one. Everyone buys like bottled water, or you go to like this automatic water refillers. Okay, it's like a machine. You put in the coins, for example, like maybe 7 pesos, 10 pesos for like either, I can't really remember, 10 liters or 20 liters at the time. Look at that bottle over there. That's a refillable bottle. So what I do is I bring this bottle to the machine and I just put in the coins and then just refuse the water. Then I bring it back. Yeah. But most of the time I'm living with someone. They usually already have water in their house, but bottled water. Yeah, no one has ever told me like, hey, you can drink water from the taps. No one in Mexico. In the US, it was like, okay, yeah, I could like just drink water, but most of the time it's fine. In Cuba, couldn't drink water as well from the taps. We started buying bottled waters, but it was so expensive. It was like between 150 to 3 USD for 1.5 liter of water in a bottle, and like a day was like so hard because we drink so much water, so it was like so expensive, at least like 3 liters a day. Yeah, so in the end, we decided to use the water filter that we bought, which is a Be Free water filter. Where is it? Somewhere. Okay, hold on, let me look for it. Okay, there. This is a Be Free water bottle. And we actually had it with us in Cuba at the beginning from the start, because I told him like, hey, I do not know what's going to happen. Maybe we need to like, I don't know, filter water from some other source if we don't have a water supply somewhere. So we got it, but at the beginning we were scared to use it, so we wanted to stay safe. We just bought bottled waters, but as we go along, it just got too expensive. So in the end, we just used the filter system, and we're fine. We're okay for now. Who knows what's going to happen in future? But so far, nothing has happened. We didn't get sick from it. Yeah. So that's the water situation. Right now, because it's so cheap to like just go to the machine and get water, I don't use the bottle because it has like a limitation to the number of liters I can use it for. So I try to save it until like I really need it. So that's like a backup plan. Okay, next. Clothes. Because of the motorcycle and my luggage system, I can't bring a lot of clothes with me. I actually do have a lot of clothes in Singapore, like a lot. I love clothes, I love dresses, I like to dress up. But before I left, I kind of like gave away most of my clothes. Right now I only have like 1 suitcase of clothes left in Singapore in case I give out on this trip and go back. But I gave away all of my clothes to like an organization. Yeah, it was hard, but I realized things are just things. They're not important. What's important is like how I feel, my happiness and experiences. So it's okay. Right now, okay, there's going to be a video about all the things I bring, so I'm just going to do like a brief summary of like me and my clothes. Yeah, so I just have like maybe 3 sets of clothes, maybe a little bit more for each weather situation. For example, for hot weather, I have like leggings like this, you know. I have like shirts, sleeveless shirts, and then for like colder weather, I have like my Uniqlo heat tech. I also have like a denim jacket, and then of course for riding, I have my motorcycle gear, shoes for different situations like just hiking, slippers, to be comfortable, water shoes that I just bought, yeah, all of this. Well, the sad part of this is like I kind of only have like 3 sets of clothes, so I just keep wearing them like over and over and over again. So if you watch my videos, you know that I don't have a lot of clothes. You probably see me in the same clothes over and over again. You could like probably recognize it. Oh, that's the red shirt, that's the green shirt, that's the striped shirt. Recently I just bought new clothes because I've been using them for like so long that the fibers in my pants are starting to tear and the seams are like coming out, so I kind of had no choice. I really didn't want to buy any clothes. Okay, like throughout the whole year until now, I only bought 2 shirts. Okay, because I really like the design of like the wolf and the skull here in Cancun. I just like it. But other than that, I did not buy any clothes. But right now, I decided to buy something because I'm in Cancun. There are shopping malls here. They have kind of like everything that I have or I could find in Singapore. So I decided to buy something. This is a new shirt, by the way. Yeah, but sometimes, okay, it's easy because I only have like a few set of clothes. I don't have to think, oh, what am I going to wear tomorrow? What am I going to wear? Should I like change my clothes up? I just know I have this, I have to wear this. But it's sad because I love dressing up like a lot. Yeah, and there was one situation like in Cuba, and me and Alexander, we were like playing The Sims, or more like I was playing The Sims, and I was trying to make like our characters as accurately as possible. So I was giving myself like clothes to wear, and he was like, no, you have to wear that jacket, you have to wear that shirt, that's how you look like all the time. And then I was like, oh, then I started to cry because it's like so sad. It's like even in the game I have to wear the same stuff. Why can't I wear something else? Yeah. Yeah, but it's okay. I have it's alright. I know that the clothes I have right now make me look good, and I'm okay wearing over and over again. It's just that sometimes it's a little depressing. Sometimes I wish that I could have like a variety of clothes to look like pretty, but it's okay. I'm okay with it. Okay. Oh, one more thing. So with clothes, the washing of clothes. This is like terrible because most of the time it's like I just stay with someone for like 3 or 4 days. I don't actually have like a lot to wash, so I just hand wash my clothes every day. Okay, every day when I shower I hand wash the clothes, and it's a pain. I've kind of gotten used to it, but I just wish like sometimes I could like just keep all the clothes in the bag, and then I use a washing machine at the end of the week or something like this and just get it over and done with. But I don't have access to like a washer and a dryer most of the time. So the best way to do it is like to hand wash every day. And I also do not like to keep dirty clothes with me. It's kind of gross, so I just try to do it every day. Oh, when I got to Cancun in July, to take a break after traveling to Mexico for July and August. Oh, I had like a washing machine and a dryer in the house, and I got so excited. That was like awesome. I could like just keep my clothes dirty, wait for like many days before I wash it. But most of the time, hand washing. Yeah, and then finding a place to dry. Sometimes they don't dry, and that's like super annoying. But yeah, that's it. That's how it is. Okay, next, talking about health. Yeah, kind of mentioned a little bit with the food, right? So because I like to try new stuff, sometimes they're not like the healthiest of food. So, but most of the time, I try to eat healthy. When I'm like traveling, like not resting like right now, I'm like walking most of the time, so I get my exercise from that by walking. But I kind of need a little bit more, like I need to like actually go to the gym, I need to lift weights to like keep my muscles. And sometimes that is like super difficult. I get like a little bit of anxiety, like going to a gym, like a new place, not knowing the people, and like just exercising. Okay, but that was like before. I kind of like gotten over the fear right now. Now I feel like maybe I think I can go to a gym, like a new gym anywhere, and like just start exercising. Before that, along the trip, um, either I ask like my host or the person that I'm staying with if they have like dumbbells or like weights that I can use to like do exercises, or I do body weight exercises. Okay, but sometimes body weight exercises isn't enough. I need something heavier for like the muscles. So then I use my tail bag as a kettlebell, but that isn't a very good idea because it's kind of heavy and the handle is like made of cloth. So I'm like swinging it, like doing my exercises, my kettlebell exercises, but I know one day it's gonna like tear off because of wear and tear, so I try not to do it anymore. Yeah, here in Cancun, because I'm here for a very long time, I go to this gym. They have like, oh, this is like awesome, like a whole selection of kettlebells from the smallest kettlebell all the way to like the heaviest kettlebell, and that helps me a lot. So right now, because I'm here for a long time, I can like buy a package for the month and it's like cheaper, and I can keep going to the gym like 3 times a week. But once I get back on the road, like next year to Central America, it's gonna be hard again because it's like 3 to 4 days at one place, 3 to 4 days at another place. Got to go find a gym. Got to ask them how much it costs for like one day, and then go do it. But I'm gonna try my best, my very 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 best to like keep my gym exercise going. Yeah. So that's about exercise, like keeping in shape. Talking about getting sick, I have like a full bag of like pills, okay, like all the medication that I could think of for like flu, for like sore throat, for fever, especially for like diarrhea and like vomiting, because my stomach isn't like the strongest. I get sick so easily. Like in Asia, when I was like traveling through the countries, I pretty much like vomited and got food poisoning in every single country, okay, that I've been to, and it's like a lot in Asia, except for India, and that blows my mind. I was like thinking, for India, I should get sick, right? But I didn't get sick. I ate the street food and I don't know, I was kind of okay. And I went to India twice, but I got sick in Malaysia. I got sick in like Thailand. I got sick everywhere else. Okay, camera died. So anyway, here in Mexico, I got sick like many times. I don't know, at least 4 times. And most of the time it's like because I got like food poisoning. I think once was like, or a couple of times was because oh wow, I'm like talking about it. Because of the flu. Yeah, I do not know if I've gotten COVID before. Not really sure. Yeah, because it wasn't like super bad. It was kind of like just a sore throat and then like cough, phlegm, but that's about it. Yeah, so most of the time it's food poisoning, vomiting, puking, getting diarrhea. Yeah, there was one time I was in Huatuco, which is in the state of Oaxaca, and I got like super sick. Yeah, I was like vomiting and pooping at the same time, and was like so weak, and I had no food in the hotel, and there was like no one to help me. I was like alone, so I had to like go outside, go to the supermarket to like go find food because I had nothing. I wanted to like just buy bread, and then at the supermarket I almost fainted because I was like so weak. Yeah, so it's like really hard like being sick and alone. Yeah, that's kind of sad. So sometimes I do wish I like have someone I could depend on, like, yeah, but okay, what else? Next is like accommodation. Okay, I'm trying to like travel as cheaply as possible, so most of the time I'm using couch surfing. And that is like awesome. I love couch surfing, and like I have like so many good things to say about it. So what I do is just use the app. I like put in the place I'm going to. So for example, if I'm going to like Tulum in Mexico, or I'm going to Mexico City, I just search for a host over there. I write to them and like tell them, hey, I'm going to stay in Mexico City for like 2 to 3 days. Usually 3 days. I put in at least 3 days, sometimes more. And I ask them, hey, could you host me? Okay. Or if I don't write to them directly, I put up like a public trip, and I will wait to see if like anyone responds to it. But most of the time, I write a direct message to the person that I want to stay with. Okay, couch surfing is like, okay, you must be like thinking, but these are strangers, right? Are you sure it's like okay to stay with like strangers? How safe is it gonna be for you as like a single female? So what I do is like I read the references. They need to have at least a few references before like I stay with them. So I read through all of them. If they have like positive experiences with the host, and they sound like they interact, they're friendly, the house is like comfortable and everything, yeah, I will write them a message and stay with them. And so far, like 99% of the time, it's great. Yeah. I really like using couch surfing. So I stay with like locals for free. I get to experience like how they live like locally. I'm not like just experiencing a place like as a tourist. Like I hate like going to a place, going to a hotel, having to pay for it, exploring the city by myself. I like to explore like a place with a local because obviously they know their living no, because they know their country, right? They know the best places to visit, the best places to eat. I get to meet like their friends, their family, get to go to like special like events, that's what I like. And sometimes I get to see their job, and I love following people on their jobs. Like I just want to learn everything. Okay, right now I'm alone because I want to stay in Cancun for like 2 months. Yeah, so the plan is to like rest here for 2 months and then start my trip to Central America in January. And it's hard to find someone on couchsurfing that would like host you for 2 months in a row. That's a long time. It is possible, definitely possible, but I just kind of want like alone time right now. Yeah, so that's why I'm renting. But from January onwards, once I start my Central America trip, I'm going to try to couch surf as much as possible. Okay, but sometimes, okay, most of the time can find someone, especially in big cities. But if I go to like a small city in the middle of like nowhere, okay, and there are no couch surfers, I would have no choice but to book an Airbnb, or like reserve a hotel through like booking.com, hotels.com, Expedia, something like this. Or if it's like super remote, I go on like Google Maps and I look for like pins on the map for hotels over there. And then I call them and say, hey, I'm going down this date, do you have availability for that? How much does it cost? Blah, 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 blah. But that's like last resort. I would rather like do couch surfing. So that's how I deal with like accommodation for the whole trip. Yeah. Okay, next. Talking about money. Okay. Obviously I have a bank account in Singapore. And obviously I can use my card here overseas to pay for stuff, but I use Revolut and Wise. It's like super simple. So all I need to do is like transfer money from my bank account into the app of like one of these two. Okay, and then in the application I can convert Singapore dollars to like USD, or Singapore dollars to like Mexican pesos. And after that I could use the card, go to like the ATM machine over here and drop the money. Okay, obviously there's going to be like a fee for using the ATM machine, like a bank charge, and also a fee for conversion. But it's so much easier than like, or it's cheaper, I think it is cheaper for me to use this too, Revolut and Wise, instead of using my bank card from Singapore, going to the ATM machine and getting like a lower rate. I rather know like the rate in these two applications. Yeah, so I feel like it's a little bit cheaper to use this too, and it's like super convenient. But I might have a problem in Central America because not all of the countries' currencies are in the application. So I might have to go back using my bank card to draw out money in these countries. We'll see how it goes. Right now I kind of have cash with me. So yeah, maybe I'll just go to money exchanger and like change it. But in the US and in Mexico, so far everything has been like super easy for like drawing out of money. Yeah. Okay, next. Planning my route. Yeah. In the US and in Mexico, I kind of like had like a time limit. It was kind of stressful. In the US, I had like 3 months, and in Mexico, I had 6 months before like I ran out of time. So I was like checking the weather to see how cold it is, seeing like which places I can go to, seeing what's there to see, seeing if there are like couch surfers over there. Yeah, so these are all like the factors that come into play when I decide like where to go, and also like how much time I have. So usually I really try my best to spend like at least 3 days at the place, but sometimes things just happen. It's like I like staying with the person that I'm with, I spend more time with them, or yeah, sometimes yeah. I spend more time at the place. Sometimes from 3 days it becomes 5 days to a week to like 12 days. Yeah, or I'm tired, so like for example now in Cancun I'm spending like 2 months over here. So it really all depends. But most of the time when I'm like traveling, I use like Google My Maps, and I have like pins like everywhere. So I have like a schedule. So I search from like one place to like another place, and I see if it like exceeds like 3 to 4 hours, because I try not to drive more than 3 to 4 hours in a day. Sometimes it goes up to like 5 to 6 hours, but very rarely. Yeah, most of the time it's like 2 to like 3 to like 4 hours. Yeah, okay, so the time spent driving from one place to another is a huge factor for me. Yeah, then I just put in on like this Google Docs like how many kilometers, how long it is, and then I plan along the way. Yeah, so this is how I plan my route. In Central America, I might have to be a little bit more careful because I do not know how good the roads are. Actually, in Mexico too, if I'm not taking the quota, some roads are like really bad. Yeah. But in Mexico, because most of it is like on Google Maps, I can use the guide, the little man, to like drop down and see the road conditions. I can like somehow figure out like how long it would take and whether it's okay to ride. Like Google is like pretty accurate in Mexico. Not all the time, sometimes I did get a bit lost, but it's okay. But in Central America, for example in Belize, I do not know why, but there are almost no blue lines at all, which means I can't use my guide to go in and like check the road conditions. So maybe timing for Belize might be like wonky. You know, I do not know exactly like how long I'm going to take from here to here. It could be like very little, like 100 kilometers, but it could take like a long time to get there, like 2 hours. So what I'm going to use for Central America is like iOverlander, because a lot of like travelers, they put in like pins on the map to tell people like, hey, this road is like shady, like don't go to it, use the other road. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to like plan a little bit more carefully, because as you know, my bike isn't really for off-road riding. So we'll see how it goes. I wish I could have like a lot of time so I don't have to worry about it, but sometimes the visa comes into play, and the season, like the weather season comes into play as well. So I didn't want to ride in Central America when I finished Mexico in July because it's like the start of the raining season and I know I'm not gonna make it. So instead I went to like Cuba instead. Right now it's the start of the dry season. It's like 20th of December. Yeah. So I hope it's gonna be easier. Like even if the roads are bad, it's like rocky, sandy, off-road riding, but if it's dry, I feel like I have like a better chance of making it. Yeah. Okay, next, communication. So obviously in the US everything is like super easy, everyone speaks English, I can talk to everyone. But coming into like Mexico and going to Cuba, everyone speaks Spanish. And the great thing about this was a year before this trip, okay, I was learning Spanish with a teacher from Argentina, but only online. So we had 2 lessons a week of 1.5 hours. So I had lessons with him for a year. Okay, then I went to the US for 3 months, kind of stopped speaking Spanish for 3 months, didn't practice Spanish for 3 months, and then went to Mexico, left my bike in Monterrey, if you remember, flew to Cancun, which is right here, to do a road trip with Alexander. And because he spoke Spanish, I kind of like let him do all of the talking. So I didn't have practice for like 4 months. And then when I went back to Monterrey to like start my trip with my bike alone, it was hard, okay? It was like, I was sad because I like talking to people, I like getting to know them, but the language barrier is like super big, even though I kind of learned it a year, but it's like nothing, okay? Like to practice to talk on the spot, like with someone here, a local that speaks Spanish is like super difficult. Like I understand more than I can speak. Yeah, but I got a little bit better, like a little bit by a little bit by a little bit. I just kept talking, I just kept asking them, like, hey, what does this mean? Could you speak slower? Can you repeat yourself? And then slowly, I got better. But even now, I just feel like even though I can communicate, I can talk about deep topics, I feel like I still need to improve my Spanish. I still need to get better at it. But the only way is to like keep talking and talking and keep practicing and practicing and practicing. I could also be like using one of the apps like Memrise or like Duolingo. I don't use Duolingo, I use Memrise to like learn more vocab, or I should be like reading like news articles in Spanish, but sometimes I'm lazy, I don't do it. So most of my practice comes from like talking to people and also editing the videos. So when I edit the videos, I put like subtitles in English and that helps a lot. But through editing the videos, I'm only listening and I'm not speaking. So I can like understand like really quickly and translate it to English, but when I try to speak to someone and form like proper sentences, sometimes I like just mess up. But I'm happy that or I'm proud to say that it is improving and I can communicate. And like that's super important to me. It's not only to like eat food, go to the toilet, get directions, but it's also to like get to know someone like personally. And yeah, okay, I will keep working at it, at my Spanish. Hopefully at the end of the trip I can speak better. Yeah, but up till now I feel like I'm still speaking like broken Spanish. But I'm trying, okay? Okay, next, keeping safe, like safety. I usually like, okay, before this trip, I had like maybe 3 trips where I was like traveling alone, and that helped me a lot. Like, I knew I have to like be like super aware of my surroundings. I know that I'm alone, so if I go out like drinking with people or anything, I try not to drink so much. I'm always like super cautious. You know, I'm always like looking around to see if like anyone's like following me, or like if someone talks to me. I feel like I'm a good judge of character. Like if I talk to someone, I can feel their intentions. And most of the time I'm talking to like great people who want to help me, who want to get to know me, who want to show me their city. But once in a while I feel like I'm talking to people who like want something else from me, like I don't know, sometimes they say like I'm pretty or whatever, and they want to like kiss me or they want to ask me be their girlfriend, I can like tell instantly, and I just tell them sorry, okay, I'm gonna go now, I'm going. Or I meet people who are like desperate for money and I can feel it. Yeah, once I talk to them, I feel like I know what's their intention. And up till now, I feel like I have a good sense of judgment of character. But even with that, I try to be safe like most of the time. Like maybe like not walk with them to like secluded place or whatever, and like maybe talking to them a little bit more before like I go off with them. Yeah. So besides that, obviously I use couch surfing, as you know. So a lot of the time I'm with a local and they bring me around, so that's like super super safe. But sometimes they are working and I have to explore the area by myself, then I have to like just use whatever I've been using to travel around, like common sense. Okay, what else? Oh, I have a Garmin with me, like a mini Garmin. I have this orange little thing that I travel around with me. It has like a SOS button. Okay, so I feel like if I ever have to use it, I hope I never have to use it. Like in dire situations where I don't know, I'm in the middle of nowhere and no one's there to help me, I'm injured, I really need help like instantly, I will press the SOS button and it will send like signals to like the satellites to like emergency centers or whatever, and hopefully someone can find me. But that's like last resort. Okay, if I ever get to that situation, it's probably going to be like super bad. Yeah, so hopefully I don't have to get there. I also have like a pepper spray that I put in my jacket, but I think I'm not putting it where I should put it. It's like I have to unzip the two zippers and then I have to put my hand in to go get the pepper spray. So I think by the time I actually reach it, it's gonna be too late. And I don't actually know how to use it. I know I have it. It's probably gonna be like some button. I do not know if there's like a safety, uh, I don't know, whatever thingy over there. But yeah, probably have to. I should figure it out. Or I should go like find out what it has. But I do have a pepper spray, but only when I'm riding with my motorcycle jacket. If I'm like just walking around, I don't have it. So yeah, I do not know about that. Okay, what else? My backpack over here. Let me show you this one. Okay, this backpack is like super awesome because it's kind of like a shell. It's like an anti-theft backpack. The zipper is like kind of like inside over here. So, and it's also like slash proof. So it's going to be very difficult for someone to like try and steal something from me, unless they like take it from me by force or like at gunpoint or at knife point or something. So most of the time I feel like pretty safe putting my belongings in the backpack. What else? Okay, so I was talking about like having common sense, right? So besides of like being aware of my surroundings and being a good judge of character of people, of course I should not be like driving at night or like going to like dangerous places. But there were a few times on the trip where, okay, it's totally my fault where I had to like drive at night. Like in the US, I was like hiking on the highest peak in Texas, Guadalupe National Park, and I ended the hike pretty late. It was like close to sunset, so I had to drive at night, and I almost died because there was an oncoming car who didn't see me and just drove right in front of me. Almost died. Yeah, so it's pretty much better, of course, 100% better to be driving in the day. But sometimes I have no choice, or sometimes I leave the house late, or sometimes things happen, but I try my best to drive in the day. And also going to like shady places or abandoned places or dangerous places. I do not know what's wrong with me, but I have like a penchant for these things. I just like, I don't know why, but I just want to find out like what's there. I want to like discover. I want to know like what's inside. But for abandoned places, I usually have like Alexander with me, but I do not know in future if he's going to be with me or not. I don't think so. Okay, so usually for the abandoned places that I've been to so far, Alexander have been like going to the abandoned places with me, so I have someone else. If I'm alone, I don't think I will be going to an abandoned place. I'm just too scared. Yeah, I need at least one more person. And oh, but for like sketchy neighborhoods, I still like go to them by myself. Sometimes I just walk around to like find out how it is. Yeah, but so far nothing has happened, and I've met the nicest people in the sketchy neighborhoods. Like you'll find out, and I don't know, in future episodes. Like, I've been to Tepito in Mexico City, and that's like one of the most dangerous like places in the whole of Mexico. And I was okay. I also been to like a place in San Blas, like squatters. Like this place is like filled with squatters with like drug dealers and people who use drugs and people who are living in like makeshift homes. But I've met the nicest people over there. I felt like I don't know, I felt like I became like part of their family. They were like my friends. I knew like who they were. Yeah, but of course I know like this doesn't happen all the time. I've got to be safe. I shouldn't be going there in the first place. But sometimes I just feel like I want to go. Oh, and there was one more place. I just uploaded the video. Sombrerete, Zacatecas. Like, everyone told me not to go, okay? But I just felt like I wanted to go experience it for myself. Like they told me like, hey, there's like a cartel war going on, many police have died, and it's like super unstable right now, it's dangerous, but I wanted to try because sometimes I feel like anything could happen anytime. Like I could like just go out right now and I could possibly die, but of course the chances of that happening is lower than if I go to a dangerous place. I know, but I weigh my risks and I see like I weigh the pros and cons and I make a decision in the end. It could be a good decision, it could be a bad decision, but we'll see how it goes. But I try my best like most of the time to be safe. Okay. Alright, next. Lastly, okay. So I talk about how I survive, okay? My survivor on this trip and the continuation of my trip depends on that bike too. If the bike dies or the bike is injured, I am also like kind of injured as well. So I need to keep my bike alive. And to keep it alive, I have to do like regular maintenance, like cleaning the chain, lubricating the chain, checking the tire pressure, you know, and yeah, that's about it. Oh, and also like once in a while, going to like a workshop to check if everything is okay, like asking the professionals. Oh, changing of the engine oil, checking my tires, all of this. Everything's like dependent on the bike. If the bike dies, I die. Yeah. Okay, I think that was like a long video. I pretty much like touched on everything that I think contributes to my survival on the road, and I hope it has been like useful.